Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve McCall coming to another video. Today you have another 6v6 Wi-Fi battle here on ORAS. And today, the funny thing, this was like the first time that someone's actually challenged me to a battle. I just went on to show one of my siblings something on my game, and this guy sent me a battle request. I mean, on my thing it says battle me or whatever, so that's why he challenged me. But it was nice not having to look for some people. Someone actually challenged me. So, as you can see, he's got a team of Galvantula, Slowbro, Dragonite, Volcarona, Crobat, and Cradily. So, Mega Slowbro, I suppose. I've been seeing a lot more of those lately. A while back, I never used to see them, and now that's probably the most common Mega I've been seeing. But here I see the Volcarona. I'm like, okay, well, still. I remember I was like, do I have a Stealth Rex user on this team? I was like, oh yeah, it's my Torterra. So, and if worse comes to worse, maybe I can set something up with my, what's it called? My Tyrantrum. My Tyrantrum. So, he has a potential Defogger in Crobat, but not that big of a deal. I was deciding what I wanted to lead with here, because I was thinking maybe with Torterra, but then I was saying, well, if he leads with Volcarona or Crobat, it's going to be a problem. So, I'm like, well, I can always lead with my, with my Pyroar. Just a side note, you can't see this, but in Team Preview, I saw 5 of his 6 Pokemon were males, and my Pyroar is male, so that means if he gets an attack off, it's going to be 25% bonus damage, or base power, whatever. So that's what I was looking, I was like, well, there's nothing that really can do too much against my Pyroar except for the Slowbro, and in that case I can just switch out. So I do decide to lead with Pyroar, thinking it's a relatively safe, and he starts with Cradily, so I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I just decided to go for the Overheat because there's nothing that wants to switch in. I remember it took him a while to decide what he was going to do, but I just go for the safe Overheat, and I almost knock it out. That was actually incredible. And he goes for a Toxic, maybe expecting a switch from me, but that works out pretty nice. I am Toxic, but I'm not going to really stay in that long. So I'd say it's a really good turn 1 because this thing's obviously a tank, especially since we see the leftovers. So I decided I'm just going to go in for another one because I'm going to outspeed. So he decides to switch out, and he goes in the Volcarona. Like I said, he didn't really have a good switch in. So I just go for another one, and I am at -2, but I still do over 50%, which is just incredible. So Pyroar already putting in some mean work, but now with that Volcarona, if I get my Stealth Rocks up, if it ever decides to switch back in, it's going to faint just from the Stealth Rocks damage. So I switch out here into my Togekiss. I'm expecting a Bug Buzz. I'm expecting to go on the offense, but he actually sets up the Quiver Dance. So that's unfortunate, since I don't know if I would have outsped before, but he's definitely going to outspeed now. So, and he goes for the Heat Wave and he misses, which is unfortunate. I think I would have survived anyways. I mean, it is a Volcarona, but I'm also a Togekiss. I got some natural bulk. I decided not to go for the Air Slash. I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to go for the Ancient Power. It's going to knock him out. No boosts, unfortunately. And now he's going to bring in the Galvantula. So he sets with the Sticky. I'm not exactly sure why. I feel like that wasn't necessarily really a good hazard for him to set up. And I go for the Air Slash. I actually thought I was going to outspeed since I'm max speed, but I don't. If not, I would have just gone for the Ancient Power, hoping for a boost and not risking a miss. And he goes for Thunder. He lands, and I live with 5 HP. And I go for another. I just go for the Ancient Power here, so I don't miss, and hoping for a boost. We not get the knockout, but we don't get a boost again, so can't complain. Togekiss put in some nice work taking out his 2 bug Pokemon. So now he just comes in here with Crobat, and I'm like, is this thing worth saving? Not really. So I just go for an Extreme Speed, break a potential Focus Sash, and he goes for a U-turn. I was like, am I going to win this? And I was like, probably not. It is quad resisted, but it's only 5 HP. So the U-turn is actually pretty good for me because he's going to switch in a new Pokemon first. So we're going to see, he decides to go with the Dragonite. So here I'm thinking, well, I mean, it's obviously got multi-scale. So I go with Dusk Noir. It does carry Ice Punch, but I want to get this thing burned more than anything. So he's going to predict the Will-O-Wisp, and he's just going to switch out. So here I was like, I hope it doesn't switch out into one of his tanks like Cradily or Slowpoke, and he does switch into Cradily, which sucks. I would have rather Toxic this thing. And I was like, haha, it missed. The one time you want it to miss, it missed. So I mean, Will-O-Wisp might like because he outspeeds me here, so Will-O-Wisp would not, or he would have taken damage, but it wouldn't have knocked him out. So Toxic is the better status for him to have, for him to be badly poisoned. That way, he can't just sit in here and recover. And I don't know if he has or has whatever to just stall me out forever. So here he is weak to ice, but I don't want to reveal the ice punch because I want to be able to surprise the Dragonite, because I don't want to think, oh, I'm just going to burn the Dragonite. But once it gets low enough, I can actually ice punch it. So I go in the Torterra here, and we see Infestation, so that's probably going to be his only attacking move. Yeah, it is going to be super effective, but it's not. I mean, it is just a Cradilly at the end of the day. So here, I mean, we just got. Like, there's not much he can do to me. I can, like, I mean, he's probably, or he is defensive. I don't know if this thing's more physically defensive or especially defensive. I assumed it was physically defensive. So, like, okay, well, this is just going to be like a nice stall fest. He's slowly taking me down with Infestation. I'm slowly taking him down with Toxic. So I set up the Stealth Rocks here. We both take up this turn to set up Stealth Rocks. So I just want to break the multi-scale of Dragonite and get some damage on that Crobat. So at this point, now I have the opportunity to set up some Swords Dances, because, and I mean, it's not really going to be much use after Cradilly, since he's got 2 flying type Pokemon, so an Earthquake it'd be immune to, and the other, I have both my stabs, Earth and Ground. Wow, no, Ground and Grass. Sorry, I don't know where Earth and Ground came from, but so that's why, like, I can set up a couple Swords Dances just so I can do over 50% health to this thing, just to make sure that I take it down. And here he goes for Toxic. I felt like that should have been the first thing he went for instead of Stealth Rocks. I mean, Stealth Rocks, yes, are important, but they don't do too much to my team. And second, the Toxic damage is going to add up over time. So there's my second Swords Dance. At this point, I'm pretty confident that I can take this thing down. What was going through my head is I have Earthquake, which would do more damage than Seed Bomb. But I was just thinking, what if he might switch into Crobat or Dragonite, predicting it. So that was kind of the debate going through my head at this time. I was trying to decide what I was going to go for, since Earthquake would do more, but Seed Bomb is the safer play. So he goes for Recover here. So, I mean, there's not much else he can do. He obviously doesn't, or he might want to stall me out with this Cradilly, but I just go for the safe Seed Bomb, and that did a lot more than I expected, 90%. So he's going to get a little bit of leftover recovery, but with how much the poison's doing at this point, he's just going to get knocked out. So Pyro put some mean work onto this thing at the beginning of the game, but Torterra was able to, like, 1v1 it, stall it out, and also the poison was a big deal. But even if he was never poisoned, just from that damage, that was like a 90. He couldn't recover me out on that one. So he brings in Crobat. I just decided I was like, maybe he'll go for a Defog, so I'll just stay in, but I don't need this thing anyways. It would be nice to have against Slowpoke, but I mean, it's not really worth it at this point, since it's got some mean defenses. So I go into my Tyrantrum here, because with Brave Bird, he's not going to be able to one-hit KO. And I got super effective stab for this thing. And here I was thinking maybe a Dragon Dance, but I was like, I'm at -1 speed as it is, so it's not like, the attack boost would be nice, but it wouldn't make me any faster. So here he goes for the Defog, which takes away all the hazards on the field, and I just go for the Head Smash. We connect, thank goodness, and this Crobat's going to be gone. So we're doing pretty well. He's got some, I mean, the Pokemon he's got in the back aren't the best. Slowbro is going to come in here, but it doesn't really scare me all that much, especially since I got Pyroar in the back. Hyper Voice probably, I think we've done a Hyper Voice against this thing, and does like over 50%. So I just go for the Head Smash here, because I don't really need this anymore either, and I don't want to take any more unnecessary damage from a switch. So I'm like, oh, I can just whittle this thing down. When I see that damage, I'm like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. I'm going to go for another Head Smash, and he's going to go for a Slap Off. So it's just going to become a little cycle. But he goes for the Calm Mind, pretty typical. I go for another head smash. I can't crit this thing, so we do take it down to about 15%, 10. But he goes for the slack off. No surprise there. So here I have a couple options. I could, because he's probably gonna go for another slack off. So I go for the Dragon Dance, thinking, okay, well, I'm not doing 50% damage, and there's no point in like head smashing so that he can slack off, and then head smashing so he can slack off. So I'm like, well, if I get a Dragon Dance off, the speed's not going to matter. It's more for the attack. But if I can do 50% or more to this thing, that means I'll be able to hit KO it. He won't be able to, or I'll eventually be able to just knock him out. He won't be able to outstall me. So I do over 50%, and he goes for the Scald, which I'm fine with. That actually helps me more than it helps him, because now that I can bring in my Pyro and I can just knock this thing out with the Hyper Voice. So, I mean, that's what I go for. I go for the safe play, and I was like, well, he did have a calm mind set up, so I was kind of getting a little antsy about it, but we are able to knock him out. Pyro is just so strong. So here he brings in Dragonite, and I just go for another Hyper Voice. This is his last Pokemon, so there's no point in switching out. It's the best thing I'm gonna get off. I just wanted to, and this way I would break his multi-scale. So he goes for the Dragon Dance, and I'm like, okay, well, he's gonna make sure he outspeeds everything on my team. And at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I can bring Dusk Noir and get off a Will-O-Wisp. It's pretty much gonna be game, because right now I have my two tanks in the back, Dusk Noir and Blastoise. But he goes for another Dragon Dance, and that was really greedy on his part, because now you see how low he is. He most likely has a weakness policy, so I wouldn't have gone for the Ice Punch. But now, with how low he is, an Ice Punch, I tell myself an Ice Punch with Dusk Noir can knock him out. So that was like a big greedy mistake. But that's why I said I didn't go for the Ice Punch, because he probably wasn't expecting. He's probably expecting a Will-O-Wisp here, and just so I can get a burn, and that'd be like my way of winning. Because this thing most likely has Roost as well. So he's like, okay, well, that's going to be fine. So he goes, and I hold on. So I just get this Ice Punch off, and it's going to be enough to knock this thing out. So I feel like something I did well was hold the Ice Punch so that he couldn't see it. And he was probably just planning on getting burned. Obviously, he would have liked to not get burned. But even if he got burned, he'd just be able to Roost back up the damage and be able to finish off my team. So one of the good things, or something smart to do, is hold off those tech moves, because with Dusk Noir, a lot of people expect the Will-O-Wisp, not necessarily the Toxic. They also expect a I don't know, maybe they usually don't expect the Ice Punch. I didn't even know Dusk Noir could run Ice Punch before making this team. So really good tech move that really came in handy this time around. Like, even though it was a 2-0, there was still a really close finish, because that Dragonite was pretty much in sweeping mode. So we got pretty lucky there. Pyro again did a bunch of damage to that thing. My opponent got a little greedy with the double Dragon Dance. If he only went for one, I would have gone for the Will-O-Wisp burn and tried to like Pain Split, Ice Punch him. It would have been complicated. I said Blastoise. I didn't use Blastoise. Blastoise would have been nice, especially against that Volcarona, but I just didn't really have. And also, well, the Cradillia as well. I mean, it would have had its moments against that team. I just didn't have too many opportunities to switch it in. So that was kind of the main thing with the Blastoise. Another thing, but against the Dragonite, Blastoise probably could have survived too and hit him with a Dragon Pulse. So, but he might have predicted that and gone for the Roost or whatever. So it is what it is. Well played. A good team by my opponent. We had some lucky moments. He had some lucky moments. So, that's gonna be it. Really good battle. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, if you guys get any suggestions for me, go ahead and let me know. If you guys want to battle me, also let me know. I'm willing to battle. So that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.